Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. This is Ainaya Allah with the beloved truth. And today's lesson is pretty much it's a motivation. It's coming out of Deuteronomy 28:43. And basically what it's dealing with, how the curses still remain on us, you know. And it's really in response to those apologetic Christians who claim that the prophecies in Deuteronomy 28 have basically been already done and they don't exist today. Well, their claim is pretty much it's it's a lie because they don't um, they don't like to see uh, any Israelites, whether it be Black, Latin, or Native American, wake up to the actual fact of the truth when it's concerning the Bible. They want the Bible to fit them, and the truth is, and the fact of the matter is that it does not fit them, and they try hard to disprove and take the validity out of the spiritual connection that we have with the scriptures, um, and the traits that we have spiritually with the scriptures. They try to take the validity out of that. But this lesson is going basically I'm gonna go into the curses, and I got a few articles and a few scriptures to edify the point that we are still under the curses, regardless of what anybody else says. Um, because this book, yeah, you gotta have a spiritual eye and spiritually discern uh, who it fits today. Okay, much like the 12 tribe sign, it's more everything is more of a spiritual, uh, a spiritual standpoint. You know, and when it comes to the scriptures, man, and especially in these days, people are gonna lose faith more and more because they don't have any tangible thing to hold on to. You know, meaning any tangible items of proof. Like digging up the bones of certain individuals. Whether it be Moses or Abraham or so on and so forth. But the thing is, the Most High has built this thing off of faith. The truth is purely off of faith. Most of it. We do have certain tangible things that tie us and connect us back to the scriptures, but it's bleak because the Most High, even Yahweh Shai said, "Shall he find faith on earth?" So we understand that this is a fight of faith, and just believing in the scriptures, man. That's why he said, the faith of a grain of a mustard seed. We hold on to the faith, but not to be long-winded. So I'm gonna start with Deuteronomy 28 and 45, and then I'm gonna go up because the point here is to prove that these curses still exist. Moreover, Deuteronomy 28:45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee. All right, now let's go into the word pursue. As you can see, to be behind, follow after. All right, and when you go into the scriptures, and you brothers can if you want to go deep into the word, just go into your blue letter Bible, and what you have to pick through the bones of certain words because most of the time that words go deeper, or they don't give you the correct words in the blue letter. You can't. You have to basically have a spiritual mind even when studying. All right, and pray. But the point is that a lot of these curses happen more than one time. All right, they don't have to just happen once. Okay, the certain mechanisms that trigger judgments of the Most High. It's that simple. But I'm gonna read the precept. It says, "Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee." All right, and then we looked up the word pursue. All right, meaning to follow behind and overtake thee be, till thou be destroyed, Salakia, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. and they shall be upon thee for a sign. Now let's come on, man. It's blatant, all right. A sign meaning a signal, a distinguishing mark, and that's what we have. The scriptures, the curses are a distinguishing mark on who we are. That's why they say the lost tribes of Israel. And when you go through most of these curses in the Deuteronomy 28, not just in Deuteronomy 28, but you have Lamentations, the whole book of the Lamentations, and more curses that's written throughout the scriptures, even in Jeremiah and in the prophets spoke on different curses that was going to come upon Israel that have been fulfilled to date. All right. And they have been fulfilled in the past. And just how the Most High word, his word works, his oracles. First of all, they're oracles. All right. All right. That, you can't just say, oh, it happened once and it ain't going to never happen again. If you, like I said, it's a mechanism. It's action, reaction. That's how the Lord judgments are set up. So if you do this, if you transgress this law, this is the curse that follow behind. And if you transgress it again, the curse follow behind once more. All right. So let's get that understanding. Says remembrance. All right. And that's what we have today. We have the curses to remind us on our peril, on our destruction, and on our transgression that we have transgressed the Lord. And that's why we were put in slavery. It's not a small thing that we were actually put in slavery and built America, and nobody, gave us anything for it. That right there is the biggest thing in history, the biggest exploitation in history, being downplayed by the so-called white man in these so-called born again Christians, because they want the scriptures to fit them when it doesn't fit them spiritually, unless they are Israelites. All right. And that's what people have a problem with. They have a problem with it, the scriptures not fitting them and fitting their agenda. Even when you go into the scriptures, into the ancient world, when you read Ezra, when you read Nehemiah, they wanted to build a temple with our foreparents. And our foreparents was pretty much like, I believe it's Zerubbabel, all right, and Joshua, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't want, we didn't need the heathen to be a part of what we were doing with our God, okay, in the rebuilding of our temple with our God, just like the so-called white man doesn't need, well, he does need us because he's needful, okay, but the point being is that we don't need you so-called apologetic, you white devils, you Edomites, all right? And the majority of you are Edomites. Some of you are Jakes, and your line goes back to Israel, who look white, but their spirit goes back to Israel. This, like I said, we don't need you to help try to break down the scriptures. You're not going to uphold the scriptures in the first place. All right. So a miraculous sign, an omen, a warning, a token, ensign, a standard, a miracle, proof. And what we have, slavery as proof. All right. And they always like to throw it's other nations that have been in slavery. No other nation has been in slavery like we have. And it hasn't been a sign and a wonder. All right. And we're talking about all the Israelites that scattered throughout the earth. If they're Israelites, they're under these curses. All right. And that's what we have in common as Israelites. All right. So Salakia verses 46, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. All right. So these curses are upon the seed of the nation of Israel forever. All right. No ifs and buts about it. Okay. Most prophecies happen one or two, numerous of times, being on the situation in whatever condition. Like I said, it's a mechanism. All right. So if we're Israelites and we go off over here, and there's certain curses that's going to follow behind, regardless of what time we're living in. All right. So my next scripture, all right, is this one of the curses that we're under. All right. One of them that you can blatantly see, okay, and I have proof. So this is Deuteronomy 28:43. It says, "The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. All right. And thou shalt come down very low. Now, what proves that we fit this scripture? Look at our economic conditions here in America. All right. So one of those conditions, Slovakia, one of those conditions uh, is what the mortgage rejection rates. Okay. Um, that's just one of many that prove that this verse, verse 43 in Deuteronomy 28:43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. Okay. All right. So black Latino mortgage rates still high. It says more than 2 decades after a landmark study showed a pattern of lending discrimination against minorities, black and Latino borrowers in Massachusetts continue to be rejected for home mortgages at much higher rates than whites, according to a new analyst of loan records. Okay, and this is not just of recent. This has been going on for at least hundreds of years. All right, sharecropping, so on and so forth. Man, it goes back, and it's something we still suffer from, and that's why we always can go to the scripture and reference what we're going through. All right, you can't. The so-called white man can't. Only thing he can find in the scriptures about him is that he is the wicked according to the Bible. All right, and that he has judgment coming, and that's why they try to deny the fact that the Edomites still exist because they fit them. They fit the prophecies. Okay, and that's one thing they can't get over. All right, it says in his annual study on home lending trends, Jim Campen, an economic professor emeritus at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, finds a persistent pattern of racial disparity in mortgage approvals in both Greater Boston and across the state, even when minority borrowers have roughly the same income as whites. Now, what is why is that? The stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. All right. That's just one of many articles that you can pull. All right. Even when you have Arabs, Ishmaelites, or Chinese, the Asians, when they come over here, which the Chinese are the Moabites, or any other nation, they get loans from banks in black in for for businesses in black neighborhoods when so-called blacks, they don't own stores in the majority of their neighborhoods. In the majority of their neighborhoods, you have foreigners that own stores. All right, that is, and that's not a lie. They own the liquor stores, they own the convenience stores, all right, the gas stations, so on and so forth, man. All right, so all right, and that's why they had to come out with certain laws to help, you know, try to help us make it in the society and give us some type of economic, you know, some type of economic grasp, in this world that we live here, in America, we're still prisoners, okay? Because we can't get deported. They just send us to the industrial prison complex. All right. All right. Now let's deal with the second verse. That the second verse or the second curse that we're under. All right. And this is not, it's pretty much we have a lot of curses on us. I'm just choosing two that you can actually see today. Uh, verse 45, it says more slack it. Verse 44, it says, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. All right. So, Salaki, back in verse 43, before I go to 44, The stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. All right. So now look at this. All right. Ethnic groups that received reparations. All right. 1990. Well, right. Japanese Americans, they 1.2 billion or $20,000 each. Remember, they promised us 40 acres and a mule. We never received that. All right. And then when we did try to establish our own economy and our own community, Black Wall Street, they bombed it. Okay. All right. 25 million to the Holocaust survivors. All right. So they basically pleaded the cause of these other nations, Japanese, Canadians, um, and we have some of our people as well because the land was theirs. This was their land, and they had certain treaties that they broke. So they've had to pay them back, all right, because they actually went to court for all of these things, all right. And we've tried the so-called Negro Judah, which is the top tribe. We tried to actually do that, but to no avail. We didn't receive any reparations, all right. As you can see, most of the Gadites, the nation of Israel, some of our people receive reparations, but you still under the oppression and dictatorship of the so-called white man, which is Esau, according to the Bible. Edom, you Edomites, all right, as you can see, but no reparations paid to who the majority of Israel, all right, and that would mean they would have to give us basically America. They would have to give us our, hypothetically speaking, they would have to give us our homeland back, all of Israel, Palestine, okay, and of course their land, Salaki, let me see, Iraq and Afghanistan, though that land would be ours, okay, only because of the fact the Lord, they would have to pay restitution, and being that they stole the land, they would have to pay for it by giving away their own land, all right. So let me see. All right, so back in that scripture, Jeremiah 20:43, it says, 44, it says, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And and I mentioned earlier about sharecropping. We had to basically be given our resources, but we had to, we were lended certain things. We're not the leaders in lending loans and owning banks or anything of that nature. All right. All right. So let me see. All right. So more statistics. Okay. And this goes back to the verse 43. All right. Redlining. It says redlining refers to discriminatory pattern of disinvestment and obstruction lending practices that act as an impediment to home ownership among African Americans and other people of color. Banks use the concept to deny loans to homeowners and would-be homeowners who lived in these neighborhoods. This in turn resulted in neighborhood economic decline and the withholding of service or their provision at any exceptionally high cost. The origin of the term stems from the policies developed by the Homeowners Loan Corporation, which is nothing but a deceitful setup, institution set up by the so-called white man who what deprived the so-called blacks and Native Americans, and not only the Native Americans, but the so-called Native Americans who are of Latin. You know, it says created in 1933 by Franklin Roosevelt administration to reduce home foreclosures during the Depression, and then institutionalized by the 1937 U.S. Housing Act, which established the Federal Housing Association, federal housing agencies, including HOLC and the FHA, determined. So this is on a this is the, the prophecy is such a big sign to us being Israelites. The curse is rather that they made laws, okay, to discriminate against us, so we won't, we won't be homeowners, so we won't have any equity, all right, or any assets, excuse me, and it was done why? But why? Because of the hatred of the so-called white man towards the so-called Black, Latin, and Native American men. All right, so the eggs are coming home, you know. Sorry, Salakia. So the truth is basically being put out there more and more. The skirt is being lifted upon Babylon the Great, which is headed by the so-called white man. All right, or or the daughter Babylon. All right. See, a lot of people don't want to deal with the spiritual aspect, which is the only aspect, because this world is carnal and the Most High is the spirit, and they that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and in truth. And those apologetic Christians, they don't worship Him in spirit and truth. They lie, and they try to, justify their existence with the Scripture when they don't fit any of it spiritually. All right. Only thing they fit is the wick, and they're not trying to uphold the truth of the Most High. All right, now going back to the scriptures. All right, all right. He shall lend to thee, verse 44, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And that's how it is. The economic wealth, the wealth gap. All right. Now let's look that up for edification's sake, because you always have people that's that talk their little stuff about us being crybabies, this, that, and the third. Well, this proves it. Your own statistics prove it. All right. All right. So, wealth inequality in the United States, also known as the wealth gap, is the unequal distribution of assets among residents in the United States. All right. Includes the values of homes, automobiles, personal valuables, businesses, savings, and investments. And this is why they set in those laws. All right. So they can have a head start. Okay. Let's lock it. Right? So they can have a red that when they started redlining in the 1933 and or 1937 and on. That's why they did it. So they can increase the economic wealth gap. All right. So they can have us in disparity in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in the communities in disparity. This is the hatred of the so-called white man against the nation of Israel, and these are not lies. These are actual facts, okay, by their own statistics. Here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is one of the biggest places where you know for ethnic tension and racism. It's just one of many. Because it's just not here in Milwaukee. It's all over the United States. You know. So my next scripture is Psalms. All right. I got a few more scriptures that kind of lengthy. Psalms 35 and 1. All right. So these are things that you cannot get past, white man. You Edomites, and you will be known by that. And the Most High is making it known throughout the earth who you are, and you can't hide it. You want to say discredit us and talk about call us all black extremists or black Hebrew Israelites. We don't call ourselves black. We know that's oxymoron. Black, we're brown. We're brown skin, and that only proves by y'all calling us that you're even more racist than you would like people to perceive. All right. So Psalms 35 and 1, it says, a psalm of David, plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me. All right. Fight against them that fight against me. And y'all have been doing so for so long. Even now, even with the truth. All right. Even with the truth, y'all fight against us. Okay. Because y'all not the people. We are. Psalms 43:1. Judge me, O God, and plead my cause against an ungodly nation. Oh, deliver me from the deceitful and unjust man. And that was deceitful, which y'all have done, the redlining and all the other stuff that y'all going to pay for. All right. That your own people pity you not, as the scriptures say, man. Y'all see us in turmoil. Y'all don't pity us. Y'all don't give a damn about our state. But y'all want to be Christian. Y'all want to talk about the love of Jesus and everybody being saved. How you going to be saved and you never repaid the debt that you owe the nation of Israel for the rape, robbing, and murdering, all right, and institutionalized racism and prejudice you have done for centuries, all right? And look at our disparity now. Look at us. And you gave us institutions like hip hop or rap, all right, to morally guide our people, which is an immoral institution, but it's headed by a so-called Jew. All right, it's headed by a so-called white man, which is an Edomite. All right, so you have shown your hate profusely. All right, so Proverbs, my next scripture. Okay, Proverbs chapter 22 and 23, and it says, "For the Lord will plead their cause and spoil the soul of those that spoiled them." So y'all got it coming. It's clear cut. And y'all want to talk about forgiveness. We forgave you. We forgave you. Okay? But we're not forgiven anymore because every time we forgive you, you walk all over us. All right? That civil rights, that deal, us not pouncing on you so-called white people, that was forgiveness. All right? And we don't have to lift a finger. The Most High is going to do the work for us. All right? So Proverbs 23, and I'm going to start at the 11th verse. For their Redeemer is mighty, he shall plead their cause with thee. All right. He's going to plead the nation of Israel's cause. All right. So my next scripture, Isaiah. Okay. Isaiah chapter 51 and 22. And it reads, "Thus said thy Lord, the Lord and thy God, that pleaded the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again." And that's talking about slavery. We're not going to drink slavery no more. Okay, y'all going to try to finally kill us off with your agenda 21 and your Rex 84 and your NDAA and NDRA, NDRP and your Black King Alfred plan and your Megiddo list or Project Megiddo and all these different covert operations that you have put on the nation of Israel. All right, whether it be syphilis towards the Ephraimites, which are the Puerto Ricans, or salt. All right, strategically being put in our food to kill us off. You know, these things are coming back in your face, and they're hitting the so-called white man in his face, and they can't do nothing about it. It says, "Behold, I have taken out of thy hand the cup of trembling." That was slavery. Even the dregs, meaning the bottom of because that's what it was likened unto. All right. It says deep like a cover dregs. And we know dregs is at the bottom of the wine, the undesirable parts. We had to go through that. All right. The root to cover, that is rob or spoil, defraud. But it is in the meaning dubious. Okay. But the dregs of like wine, dregs are the undesirable part. We had to endure that. Okay. During slavery and the defaming. All right. And the or the stigmas that were put on our people because of the so-called white man's fear of the so-called Negro in Latin. All right. It says, verse 23, but I will put into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over. See? And that's what y'all have done. That's what the redlining was about. That's what all these other projects and conspiracies, meaning conspiracy, mean breathe together. So you breathe together all these things to come against us. All right. And don't make it seem like this is just made up. You have done it, and the history proves it. It says, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over, and thou hast laid thy body as the ground as the street to them that went over. And we have been stepped on. Uh, we have been demasculated. We have been brought very low for you so-called white people, and not just you so-called white people, but you other nations as well. All right, who set up stores in our neighborhoods and so on and so forth, so that y'all can feed off of the source of our people, so you can feed off our peril, our destruction. All right, while you feed your families and make money off of us. Okay, it's gonna be brought to naught. Okay, so we are the ones that are afflicted. Okay, not you so-called white people. And you can say all you want. Oh well, there's white people that's in in bad conditions. Have you not read the scripture? The Most High was going to reverse the roles. All right, He's going to reverse the roles, and we're able to see that, and that's why we see this country falling the way it is on such a level that it is. You know. So this is Jeremiah 15:5. All right, Jeremiah 15:5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? And that's a proverb. That's a sign, man. Nobody. It's a rhetorical question. Nobody has came to our side and asked us about how we're doing. All right. And if you do, guess what? The scriptures have you pegged. When you read Job chapter 20, I believe, in verse 10, you know, y'all didn't have pity on us. Okay. Y'all did what y'all did. Y'all exploited us the best way y'all knew how. All right. Just to get over on us. Here's Job 20:10. It says, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Okay. And those sins are coming. Your judgment is coming. All right. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue. All right. That's your laws and your legislations that you have put against the nation of Israel. Though he spare it not and forsake it not, because y'all haven't forsake the redlining. All right. Y'all been doing it for decades. All right. It says, but keep it still within his mouth. Yet his meat in his bowels is turned. It is the gall of asp within him, meaning poison, man. All right. It says he has swallowed down riches and he shall vomit them up again. God shall cast them out of his belly. All right. Y'all gonna pay for everything y'all have done, man. Y'all can't pay now, because the Most High is gonna turn that recompense upside down on top of your heads. We're gonna get our justice by way of the Lord bringing vengeance upon America. All right. And he's gonna use his people to do it. All right. But he's gonna use the other nations to take America out. There will be race riots. There will be ethnic tension, which is the same thing. Okay. But there's going to be World War III. All right. But and with that, it's pretty much the end of the lesson. You know, it was pretty lengthy. I tried not to, but the spirit, go on, you know. And like I said, we fit those curses, and nobody else can say that we don't. All right. The more they try to fight against us and say that the Bible is not talking about us, the more they put their foot in their own mouth. So with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and notice that great millstone. This has been another one with our Naya Allah, the beloved truth. Shalom.